I like my Pikachu animal style. And welcome into the Gaming Discourse. I'm Tyler Frater alongside Richard De La Cruz, who's not here today, and Chief Engineer Lieutenant Commander Connor Frater.
Good evening.
It is Monday, September 15th, 2025. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/gamingdiscourse. Patreon.com/thegamingdiscourse. You can subscribe for $247, $10. Get your name in the video credits, early access to our videos, access to our Discord server, and more. I have a new video up going through my physical collection of video games. There's a couple different reasons I wanted to do like a fun little project like that. So I talk about all that in the video. So please go check that out. It's 2 hours long because I go through most of my PlayStation games and my hard copy PC games as well. And I talk about them and go through them. And I don't know when part 2 is going to be, but eventually I'll do a part 2. And I have to go back and get some of the stuff I missed because I missed some PS3 and PS4 games. And then I'll do PS5 and eventually move on to Xbox and et cetera, et cetera. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of editing. But yeah, go check it out, and more of that in the future. We have news. We have games. Connor,
yes.
How are you? How you doing?
I'm all right.
You all right?
Yeah.
7 out of 10?
7.5.
You're a AA game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a AA game right now.
What games have you been playing?
I've been playing MLB The Show 25. Just told you. While my partner was running a D&D session online, I was playing Road to the Show.
What a couple nerds.
I know, right? I was playing Road to the Show. I have a starting pitcher who is the ace on the Rockies, which, isn't hard to do. Just be able to throw a fastball and they put you right at the top. But in the game that I was playing, they're an immaculate inning.
Nice. Now, are your Rockies any good in the show?
No.
Okay. So they're your Paul Skeens on a bad Pirates team is what I'm hearing here.
Yes.
You're having one of those incredible seasons while it's like, and there's another 9-inning barn burner. And anyway, it brings the Rockies closer to 500.
Yeah. We are constantly trading 4th and 5th with the Giants.
Oh, okay. So that's not fun.
No.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. But other than that, my partner started playing Silent Hill 2, the remake, and I've been kind of, couch co-oping it with her, watching her play, helping her with some of the puzzles that, just like, as I pick up hints, throw them her way.
And you're backseat playing, right? All the time.
Every single.
Check that enemy.
Yeah.
Pick up that thing over there. Yeah, okay. That's how you properly play a game on your partner's side. Trust me, as a married man, you want to constantly order.
She was coming to an area where she had died several times, and I was like, "Babe, get your gun out." She was like, "Oh yeah."
So you haven't experienced anything of Silent Hill 2?
Correct.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what you think. Do you have any desire to play through the original PS2?
I don't know if I have desire to play through the original PS2 game.
Okay.
I, with a burning passion, despise tank controls on people. People do not move like that. They don't need to move like that. I know
there was technical limitations
of the time, but I will not subject myself to have to go back to that.
And I think I don't know, can you change that in some of the simulated copies? I wonder if there's an option for that. I don't remember. But there's also like a weird camera thing where if you hold, I think like right trigger or something, it puts the camera behind James, so it kind of turns it into like a third person camera angle, kind of, but not always. Yeah, it's a very the camera angles definitely add to the experience because of the claustrophobia and stuff like that. And I think that was something that the remake sacrificed in favor of obviously streamlining and having sort of a smoother experience, which I get that you lose something in that translation, but I don't think the game was necessarily worse for it. I think it was just different.
Yeah.
And I would say that Silent Hill 2 on the PS2 is still worth playing through because it is pretty different. Just because, this obviously Bloober's Silent Hill 2 is much prettier, looks better, etc., etc. But with those different camera angles and with the murky fogginess of PS2 graphics, things just feel a bit different. The atmosphere is, I think, maybe thicker and a little bit more smeared, and that kind of gives you a dirty, grimy feeling, and that's very Silent Hill. So, yeah, I do think you lose a little bit of that, but I don't think the Bloober Silent Hill 2 was bad at all.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty good. So I'm excited for you to
experience it.
To experience it and see the story, and then, but also, like, if you enjoy it, and you're like, man, that was really good, I would recommend seeing if you could figure out how to play the PS2 copy eventually, because it's just as good, but like the dialogue's different because the voice acting is different. Mary, it's different stuff. So yeah, okay. Anything else?
One last thing, I dove back into Helldivers, but it's
hell yeah, nice.
Spilling oil, killing bots, having fun.
Nice. I do miss Helldivers. I just picked up because I have a box copy of it.
There are so many war bonds that have really unique and interesting weapons and like armor loadouts and different customization options that with their ethos of we're not getting rid of any of this. It's nice that I can just be like, okay, now I'm going to pick from this one.
That is exciting to know,
this one,
because it is really annoying when you hop into a live service game and there are items that just for FOMO stupid reasons are locked out or whatever, and that really bothers me. But it is nice to know, like, I assume that the Halo stuff is going to be there in a year if I decide to hop back in.
Probably. Well, yeah, I think so.
I don't think it's like a timed exclusive.
No, because it was with, I think it was with, like, dropped with Xbox.
Okay. I hope I'm not wrong about that. but Xbox stuff or Halo stuff to the side.
I'll Venmo you $10 so you can get a 1 month
I know
PlayStation Plus subscription.
I'm really busy playing a bunch of other stuff right now, but I would like to eventually hop back into it because I do miss it, and like I haven't fought the Illuminate yet.
Oh,
and I know that they're like a completely different.
They are hell.
Yeah, they're like a completely different.
You remember how bad like it was playing harder difficulties of the bots?
Yes.
That's just all the time.
And I miss fighting on that one jungle planet. That was like I don't know. Is that planet still contested?
No, I think the bots own it now.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, they lost the battle. I forget what that
Malevelon Creek.
Yeah, Malevelon Creek. Yeah. I would love to, because I was one of those players that was like every day I was hopping in there, jumping in, doing a couple missions. I was so I do miss like going there and doing missions and stuff. And then there was a bunch of stuff that I didn't get to play a whole lot of. Some different planet types that were like the planet types with like the thunderstorms and lightning. Like I didn't get to do those a whole lot.
You don't even know the half of it now. Urban maps exist.
I know. You've told me that they sound. Yeah,
it is a whole other beast.
That sounds really cool. I need to. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay.
And then getting the walker, calling in like the exosuit walker that is a dreadnought. So much fun. Okay,
well, maybe I'll just shove everything to the side. This is like I'm back into Helldivers 2 continuously. So let's see, what have I been playing? So I finished Death Stranding 2. I've talked to you a little bit about it. I did not think Death Stranding 2 was as good. The ending I didn't find interesting. The ending was very big, very bombastic, which was somewhat different from the original Death Stranding. But I just didn't find it as interesting. I thought it rehashed ideas from Metal Gear Solid in a way that wasn't as creative. I don't think the game had the same sort of thematic core that the first Death Stranding did. The first Death Stranding was in no way a perfectly written game, was in no way had perfect dialogue or anything like that. But I think it had a lot of interesting ideas. It's very, at times it was sloppy and tangled and messy. But I think within there were interesting things that it wanted to say, interesting ideas, fun scenes, fun characters and stuff like that. And there was sort of at the core a commentary on the United States, on divisions, and that's fine. And again, we can talk about the merits of those themes in the first Death Stranding. But in DS2, it lacks that core. There's a character that I feel like a lot of the twists and turns just weren't interesting because it just felt cliched. It was like, oh, this person is this. Oh, and it just didn't feel surprising. It just felt like you knew that these twists were coming. It just depends what relation are they going to have. It just wasn't going to be that big of a shock. And a couple of the twists, the two biggest twists in the game, I guessed like like 20 hours in. I beat the game. I had maybe 80 hours. 20 hours in, I guessed both of the biggest twists. So it just wasn't all that surprising. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't think that the gameplay got the sort of treatment that it needed to get, where it focused back on the transport and delivery mechanic. I think that could be really cool in a game. I think about something like Satisfactory, right? You build a factory and it's like, well, that sounds boring. But then you play Satisfactory and it's all about efficiency, and you're putting machines over here and routing
materials this way
and
what you produce over here.
Yeah, and you're building in that and making that all efficient and run smooth is a lot of fun. So if you take that, but you just make it delivery and shipping and stuff like that, that seems like it could be fun. But Death Stranding didn't really focus on that. Instead, it gave you robot enemies and more guns, and it's just this wasn't what the first Death Stranding needed. So yeah, it's fine. I'm glad I played it. I'm not sure what they're gonna do or if there's gonna be a DS3. But if DS3, if they don't do anything and DS3 is like DS2, I'm not sure if I'll finish DS3.
Well, they gotta fill the gaps between DS2 and DS9.
Of course, yeah. There's a long way to get there because it's weird.
It's been a long time.
You have to jump genre and you have to jump franchise. It's gonna be all kinds of weird stuff they have to do. So after that, I jumped into Metal Gear Solid Delta.
What a thrill!
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because these are both Kojima games.
Yeah.
So it's like, I go from what I think is
Whiplash.
Yes, I go from what is like one of Kojima's, I think one of his worst. Which is not just his, but one of the worst games that he has worked on, which is DS2. I think it's not one of the better ones. To what may be his best, which is MGS3 or MGS Delta, which is essentially like a shot-for-shot remake. And man, it makes me miss stealth games so much. And there are stealth games out there, Ghost of Tsushima was a stealth game, Far Cry 6, but those are like action stealth. I'm talking like real, you sit in the mud and you kind of just sit there and watch a guard march back and forth, and you go really slowly and you try to take in your surroundings, and you're changing different camos out and stuff like that. I understand the people that don't like the menus, and the menus are still there because you have to if you get a leech on you, you have to cure it. If there's a quick menu for camouflage, but you still have to open a quick menu to change camouflage levels, which a lot of people find annoying. But I just, the writing, the storytelling in MGS Delta, the boss fights, everything is just so much better. And being excited to explore and take chances to find extra items is really cool. I found the thermal goggles, which I don't think are something that you find automatically. I think you have to pick them up. But the thermal goggles made the boss fight with the fear so much easier.
Yeah. Because
the fear is the guy that turns invisible and he goes really fast. So if you don't have the goggles, you kind of have to, it's like fighting Predator. You have to watch for the shimmer. But you have the thermal goggles, you pop those bad boys on, and you see thermal. So you see wherever the fear is. So it makes the fight a lot easier. And just, it's just so zany, with the bosses. The pain, and then the fear is the same thing. The fear! And he explodes. It's just hilarious and cool and ridiculous. And I can't wait to play it more. It definitely not everything has aged well. It's very, its treatment, and this isn't new, its treatment of women is very anime. I don't mean to, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I don't know. It's just, it reminds me of anime that I've watched. And I don't know. Maybe I don't think that's culturally insensitive. There's lots of video games that are just like that too. It's just anyway. So yeah, you were gonna.
I was gonna say there's another game I played, and it matches in line with stealth games. U-Boat.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I just want to tell this story because I know you'll appreciate it. I was out in the Atlantic, saw smoke on the horizon as sun was setting. So I dropped to 100 meters and a convoy went over me. I sat underwater for 3 hours waiting for this convoy to pass over me.
Ultra silent.
Ultra silent, like blue lights, running on silent, engines off, just sitting underwater waiting, just hydrophones on, just listening to this convoy inch closer and closer and pass over me. Mm-hmm. Surface going 6 knots, so matching the speed of the convoy, so my engine noise gets just mixed in with all the other engine noise.
Okay, interesting.
I pop up in the middle of the convoy. All the escorts are out on the perimeters. I'm in the middle. I am in perfect hunting position.
All the big juicy merchant ships.
I just, in quick succession, get 5 targets lined up, shoot 5 torpedoes, drop back down to 100. I hear 3 hit, then I hear 2 sink.
Nice. Okay.
And then, you know, the battleships and the corvettes just started depth charging everywhere. And I sat underwater for another 3 hours, swapping between 100 and 150 meters in height, just avoiding depth charges until they went away.
Nice.
And I got an achievement for surviving, having ships drop 100 plus depth charges on me and surviving.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I do miss that game.
Oh my god, it's so much fun.
I know, it's very difficult.
And so they announced recently that it's coming to console.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
So it's coming to Xbox and PS5.
Awesome. That'd be cool. I wonder how the controls will work.
So there is a menu that you can just like make commands from, like on PC already. So it's probably just going to integrate that more into the certain button brings up the command menu. You go through, select what.
Yeah, lots of radial menus, I would assume.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, but Metal Gear Solid makes me miss stealth games.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like actual stealth games because it's so much fun to play a sort of older stealth game that is slower. And yeah, where it doesn't, we're getting spotted as bad because you are at a disadvantage relative to the average NPC,
mm-hmm.
which in something like Ghost of Tsushima, you're not, or Far Cry 6, NPCs are like, you can kill them super easily.
Yeah.
Where in your Splinter Cells, your original Metal Gear Solids, NPCs getting into combat with NPCs is like a real challenge.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Every time you talk about U-Boat, it makes me want to play it because it sounds so awesome. And I would love to get into it.
I described it like it's a span of 6 hours, but there's like time dilation that you can do. But I actually spent about like 2.5 hours, like maybe an hour 45 of that 2.5 hours just listening to death charges around me.
getting your sanity shaken there for a little bit.
Oh, stress was through the roof for me and the crew.
I would imagine. Okay, well, let's hit the news. Thanks for listening. If you like our content, please consider subscribing or leaving a like and comment. You can find us at patreon.com/thegamingdiscourse. And our tiers are $2, $4, $7, and $10 and include getting your name in the video credits, early access, and access to our Discord server. Okay, so we're going to recap the recent Nintendo Direct. I was surprised by some of the reactions to this, but I guess in some ways they make sense. A few of the announcements here. So the Super Mario Galaxy movie got a teaser trailer. Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 HD collection is going to come out. There's a new Mario Tennis Fever, linked banner of Spark I thought looked cool. Like it almost looked like a hack and slash RPG, which I thought was interesting. A new Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond releases December 4th, which we'll talk about that in a second. Pokemon Pokopia looks like an animal style, a burger with lots of cheese and lettuce. No, and I like my Pikachu animal style. Grill that sucker up. Give me, sorry. No, it looked like an Animal Crossing style Pokemon game. Storm Lancers, which I have been looking forward to for a little bit. $20 couch co-op game on the Steam, not on the Steam Deck. I guess you can't. No, I think it's just on Switch. I don't think Steam Deck. But it looks like Rogue side scroller hack and slash, which looks cool. There's a new Virtual Boy standalone periphery for $100. We'll talk about that in a second. Hades 2 is exiting early access September 25th, and I believe physical copies are coming out in November. So the game of the year conversation is wide open, and it just keeps getting wider and wider and wider. And then Resident Evil Requiem launches on Switch 2 February 27th, which is the same day that it launches worldwide for other platforms, which I think is significant. So, okay, there were a few, I guess, controversial things. I'm not a big Metroid Prime fan. I played the remaster. I thought it was cool. It's like, okay, this is neat. But I didn't grow up with the Metroid Prime games, so I'm not somebody who was like super invested in it or super like loves them a lot. I watched the trailer and I thought the trailer looked neat. I was like, oh, you're riding a bike. Okay, neat, whatever. And then the first person stuff, I was like, oh, that looks cool. Sure. Like I was like, yeah, this looks like it would be pretty good. But a lot of the reaction was negative, which I was surprised by. A lot of people didn't seem to like the bike in the open world. Like, I'm not sure if it's an open world or like large levels or whatever, but they didn't seem to like that, which if you're like a big Metroid Prime fan and you don't like that, I totally respect that, because again, I'm not a huge Metroid Prime person, but that game has been in development for like a million years now. So I don't know, it'll be interesting when it launches to see sort of the reaction to it. But unfortunately I can't give like much more of a recap than that. Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 HD, that looked awesome. It's going to be $69.99. So it's going to be another $70 game. I don't know how much should remasters cost? And remaster is the wrong word because it's an HD collection. So I don't know if it would necessarily be a remaster or if it's just an HD re-release, right?
So that would be a remaster because they're remastering the game to be in high definition.
Okay, but like
it's not a remake; it's a remaster.
Well, yes, but not all remaster is just playing games at a higher resolution, right? Like
that's what a remaster.
No, but not all the time. Like the Metal Gear Solid Delta is not a remake; it would be closer to a remaster because it's the same game, but it's just in a new engine and stuff like that. That's how I understand the terms. Is all I'm saying. So maybe remaster is on a spectrum. Maybe. Yeah. So yeah, I don't. But if it's just like so if you're playing the game with like HD texture, I don't know. The larger point here is that $70. Does that need to cost $70, especially if they are sold? I mean, they're sold in one pack. Should that cost $70? I don't know. It feels to me like probably not. It's tough for me to say.
Well, I mean, them coming in one pack is interesting. Now you're getting two games for $70.
Yeah, and they are going to be selling separately as well.
And I imagine they're not going to be 35 a piece separately. They're probably going to be.
I have no idea what they're going to cost separately.
But I imagine they're not going to be just halvesies down.
I don't know. That would make sense to me, but I don't know off the top of my head. But I think one of the larger issues here is that there's been a conversation about Nintendo and price, right? Because Nintendo, the Switch 2 is $450, right? Mario Kart World is $80, and I've played a little bit of Mario Kart World, and I don't know. It seems like it's Mario Kart. Is it should this cost $80? Like, from an economic standpoint, Nintendo may say yes, because here's the balance sheet, here's our budget. And it's like, okay, but if you're making a new Mario Kart game and you have to sell it for $80 because that's the budget that you built it on, then maybe we should talk about how to build a Mario Kart game on a smaller budget. And not how to build a Mario Kart game and make it cost $80. Like that, maybe that's part of the conversation.
And some of Mario Kart World did feel like reinventing the Wii.
It did, yeah.
And that gets factored into your budget. And do you need to have an open world for your racing game? I'm going to venture and say no. You don't need an open world for your racing game. You're not Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. You don't just stumble into chases with police in your game.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're a like quote unquote like professional racing like track circuits. That's what your game's about.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. They might be changing it. Who knows? Mario Kart Most Wanted might be next.
I want to say I saw a story. This may be wrong, but I want to say I saw a story that said Mario Kart 8 was outselling World on Switch 2.
That wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me either. And it also wouldn't surprise me if more people are just playing Mario. It obviously wouldn't surprise me if more people are playing Mario Kart 8 on the Switch 2 because they already have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the Switch edition.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, they just they take that out of their Switch and pop it into their Switch 2. So it's like, of course, more people are playing it. But I guess the larger point would be, is that player base moving from Mario Kart 8 to Mario Kart World versus how many people... Like, is the player base moving? I guess that's the question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they moving on to the next Mario Kart, or is it just, hey, this Mario Kart's super good. I've had it for this long. I might as well just keep playing it on because it does everything I want a Mario Kart to do.
And I don't have to drop $80 on it.
Yeah, and as cool as like the cow is and the penguin.
Definitely. I from what little I played, I can see why they were like price hike because they're changing so much about like the structure of the game, but a lot of it felt unnecessary for the game. I don't need to drive between tracks.
Yeah, it's a neat feature.
Yeah, it's cool, but you really only get the experience
it's gimmicky. I mean,
it's gimmicky, and you only really experience the first track, and then the other ones are not the full track, and it's leading into it with this long.
I'd have to play again because I don't remember how it works. I don't remember if you finish the first
So you finish the first track, and then you race to the next track, and that's the first lap.
Is
getting to the track.
So you only do 2 laps at the next track?
Yes.
Okay. I don't remember, and I don't know if there's a way to turn that off.
Well, it's probably a different mode because we were doing Grand Prix.
But. Yeah, I'm sure there's got to be a mode where you just like you race, 3 laps or whatever. And there's also the mode where it's just one really long, like instead of going through each track, it's just one long rally race, exactly. Which I've raced before, and it's just a really long Mario Kart race. And don't get me wrong, the game looks good, it runs good. And some of the tracks are cool, but at the same, that same thing is like,
if you're doing rally races, there's an aspect of like actual rally races that you lose by doing it in Mario Kart, which is those are endurance races.
Yeah,
your car wears out over the entire course. Parts are getting changed out on the fly.
Yeah, that's why NASCAR has pit stops.
Yeah,
yep.
And you don't have that in Mario Kart, and so like you get your normal catch-up mechanics with like items and boosts and whatever, but if you like misjudge a turn or something and get pulled out by the guy in the cloud and then wait 3 seconds to drop back in, and now you have to recover all that time in a game where there's really no stakes if you're going whole hog the entire time or just cruising, because you'll catch back up with the pack with just power-ups. So I just don't see the appeal of the rally race.
Yeah, I need to play Mario Kart World more, but sorry, I don't remember how we got onto this discussion. I think it's just because Nintendo and pricing and some of the reaction to the Direct, which I thought a lot of these games looked cool and I was excited for, And I'm excited for the Switch 2 because I'll talk about some in a second. The Virtual Boy, to me, I don't know. This is just a very Nintendo's services have always been bad. Nintendo has always every one of the big three does something a lot better than the other two, right? Nintendo, PlayStation, they have first party IPs. Xbox doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
Xbox used to have the best services. Now they don't. Xbox, at this point, we may not even have a big three. I don't know. Now PlayStation may have the better services of the three. Nintendo, I think, is good at first party stuff, at generating IP, at putting characters out there, at innovating, right? Every Mario game, really good. Breath of the Wild was innovative and interesting. So it's they do that consistently. But their services are just so dumb. And so this Virtual Boy thing, it's you got to have, it costs $100 plus you have to have a subscription on top of that. And it's this uncomfortable, and don't get me wrong, I'm glad that these games are, I don't know, that you're going to be able to play them again, but it's just in this very restrictive Nintendo way, which sucks. Because I wish, and I know that, they're made for virtual reality. So how do you do it? Unless you get the cardboard box, you have to have some kind of periphery. But then I think that that subtracts from the experience. And you have to have the subscription. You can't just buy them, right? So it's if you decide to get this periphery and you put in your Switch 2 in it and shut the flap and play games, you may have a good time. But then the thing is you have to stay subscribed to Nintendo, or else you lose access to those games. And that sucks. That sucks that so many of Nintendo's games, because I'm pretty sure to get the GameCube and different stuff, you have to be subscribed. And I don't think all of them are just purchasable. I think they're locked behind different subscription services, or locked behind the Nintendo Online subscription service, plus expansion pack, right? Which sucks and is really annoying. And I hate that they do that. And I don't think that's great for game preservation. I don't think that's a good way to treat your games or your IPs or anything like that, but I don't know, whatever. Resident Evil Requiem launching on Switch 2, which I think we knew about beforehand, but it'll be interesting if it runs really well on Switch 2. Maybe I'm missing something obvious, but to me, this would be the first time that a big AAA game releases on all three platforms, and it feels like all three platforms are really competing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really happened in the past. I'm trying to think of I don't know. I don't think it's really happened with sports games.
No.
Because I think sports games have their audiences on their consoles, so they really don't have to worry about,
For football, you go to Xbox. For baseball, you go to PlayStation. For sports, but Mario, you go to Nintendo.
Yeah, and then you can play the show on the Switch and stuff like that. So I don't know, but that event I think will be interesting, just because again, we'll get to see how does this do on Switch 2, and if it runs fairly well, then you have this other option outside of the two main consoles. The thing that I am maybe most excited for is that Hades 2, right? So in my time with the Switch 2, I can say that it does look and run much better, which that was sort of the important thing for me, was how is this thing going to run? And it runs great. Donkey Kong, there's a lot of stuff going on in Donkey Kong Bonanza, and the game handles it really well. There's DLC coming out for Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm not sure if I'll pick it up, but I was like, hey, that's cool. It's one of those, little surprises, whatever. But it has sort of changed my calculus about how I think I'm going to go about purchasing games. Because, I don't know, 5 years ago, it was okay, I have 4 years ago. I don't remember when I got the Steam Deck. I have my Steam Deck, right? So games like Pillars of Eternity, I could play on Switch, but the Switch is slower. Pillars of Eternity had horrible port problems. And it was Nintendo, right? So it's just my Nintendo stuff is there. As opposed to Steam Deck, where my Steam account is there, right? It also has a desktop mode. It's a whole different kind of device, which is why I never thought it was competing with the Switch. Like I never thought they were on the same plane. It's not the one that was better than other. It was just different markets. So now for me, it's like, okay, Hades 2 is probably going to run better, if not just as good, on Switch 2 than it will on the Steam Deck. And that's a game that I would like to play in handheld mode, because it's not a game that I need a massive TV or anything like that. It's a game that I can play on the go. So that changes the calculus of how I'm buying things, right? Same thing with like Pillars of Eternity. If there was ever a Pillars 3, and Pillars of Eternity is not a graphically intensive game, and Pillars 3 came out for Switch 2 and PC, and there was a physical copy for Switch 2, now I have to make that decision. It's like, yeah, I could pick it up on Steam and have it a Steam copy, or I could get a physical copy and have it for Switch 2, and chances are, hopefully, it's going to run just as well as it would, if not a little bit better, on the Steam Deck. And it's a native thing on Switch 2, right? On the Steam Deck, you can play Pillars 2, but it's like, it's not made for the Steam Deck. Yeah. So you have to, some of the text might be small.
In the end, if it ends up, being an issue, getting it to run well, or having port issues on the Steam or on 2, well, Steam is known for its sales.
Yeah, that's the thing and I think that's an issue because the Switch had a lot of problems that I think its success overshadowed, right? Yeah. We could talk about how, everybody that bought a Switch, the Joy-Cons that came with that Switch are now dead. I don't think anybody's Joy-Cons survived. Yours, that's it.
Because I always left them docked.
Nice, you never touched them.
Never removed them from the Switch itself.
Everybody else, if you looked at your Joy-Cons for more than 5 seconds, they drifted and died. My Joy-Cons died. Those things were horrible, right?
Yeah, my Joy-Cons still don't have drift. I don't know what Faustian bargain I made, but
was it worth it?
Barely.
So there's that. Then there's third-party support, which was good because you got a bunch of games, but at the same time, a lot of the ports were bad. Pillars of Eternity, like I said, was impossible to play.
Also, the Nintendo Store is just awful.
Oh yeah,
just to navigate.
Yeah, the Nintendo Store is not very good. So it's like there was all those little things about the Switch, but the Switch was super successful. It had great games. So I think a lot of that success overshadowed those things.
Yeah.
With Switch 2, we don't know what kind of stuff is going to...
It's still very early.
Yeah. So if those third-party problems reappear, then all of a sudden my calculus for buying a game changes. Now, I guess the larger thing here is how many people are like me that are going to have to make this calculus, right? And I guess not many, but just the fact that I have to make that calculus, I think is interesting because Nintendo hasn't been in that position for a long time.
Yeah.
So, and probably more often than not, I'm in the rarity of it. I don't know. I'm the exception to the rule, I guess. Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to mention about any of this?
What's funny is friends and I were talking about Nintendo needing to do just another Mario sports game because they haven't done one in a while.
Yeah.
And then tennis came out.
Yeah. It looks kind of cool. Looks neat, yeah.
I still think that they need to do a Mario World Series and you do the funky stuff that's in Mario Party. You give Wario a steam powered piston bat that just hits jacks every time.
Nice.
But it's cool that we're getting another Mario sports game. Those are always fun just to have.
Yeah, they're very much
they're party games.
They're party games, yeah. Which is great, but it is it's a certain niche thing, I guess. And I think Mario Party Superstars was the last one for Switch. I think. I don't know. I don't know when we're gonna get another Mario Party or what's gonna happen with the next Super Smash Brothers. I don't follow that, so I have no.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate 2.
Ultimate 2, yeah, because Ultimate was Ultimate, so I'm not sure if they just do it. And I don't think they announced anything because they announced a Switch 2 version of Super Mario Wonder.
Yeah.
during the Switch 2 presentation. So I have no idea what they're going to do for like Smash and stuff like that. Those are announcements for another day. Okay. Moving on here, I want to get to this story by Stephen Totillo on Assassin's Creed Mirage's upcoming DLC, which will be set in 9th century Alula, which is now, I believe I pronounced that right, Alula, located in what is now Saudi Arabia. So some background here, Ubisoft is getting funding from different places, right? The company's new Tencent-backed spin-off company will manage Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and Rainbow Six. And remember, that went down right around the same time that X-Defiant was shut down, right?
Yeah.
So Ubisoft was in like a weird place. They get this cash infusion. There's this new subsidiary, and it's like, okay, Ubisoft's trying to make deals and shift its company around and do different things. I'm going to read from Stephen Totillo's story about Yves Chamotte talking in Riyadh. And here, I'm just going to read from it here. Quote, in the spring of 2024, Mirage's developers told gamers that the game was designed as a standalone experience without any DLC plans. In Riyadh, Guillemot did not explain what changed those plans. But in January of this year, the French outlet Les Echos had reported that Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, which was heavily invested in the games industry, was forging a deal with Ubisoft to expand Mirage. While game companies, including Ubisoft, often avail themselves of government-issued tax breaks, a state-sponsored expansion to a major video game release would be highly unusual. Ubisoft declined to comment on that report at the time and did not reply last month when I asked them about the official statement. After I asked them again yesterday about whether Mirage's new content was funded via the Saudi PIF, a Ubisoft rep shared the following comment. This title update to Assassin's Creed Mirage was made possible thanks to the support of local and international organizations through access to experts, historians, and resources to ensure the creation of an authentic and accurate setting. Aside from its August tweet, Ubisoft tweeted about the DLC in August, Ubisoft has been uncharacteristically quiet about the Mirage expansion. There is no article about it on the company's frequently updated news site. Two people familiar with the matter, but not authorized to speak about it, said the Mirage update was largely being created in Paris by a team consisting of former developers on Star Wars Outlaws. That 2024 game's development was led by Massive, a Ubisoft studio in Sweden, but also had contributions from Ubisoft's Paris studio. GameFile sources familiar with Ubisoft were unsure of the nature or status of any Ubisoft deal with the Saudi government or its gaming companies, but the belief among workers I spoke to was that the new Mirage content was created with the assumption of financial benefit from the kingdom, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Okay, so in the meantime, Ubisoft has recently laid off 9 people in its publishing team and 19 from Red Storm in July, as it's going to launch this new Tencent-backed studio, which came with a $1.25 billion investment. So you get all this investment money, and you're cutting jobs, which is never a good look.
Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. So I don't know. I think this is a really good piece of reporting by Stephen Totillo.
Yeah.
And 2, I think it's pretty clear what's happening. I think Ubisoft is being coy about this because there are clear issues here with Saudi Arabia's human rights record. And remember, this is not a rich guy. There is a difference between Tencent and the Public Investment Fund. Tencent is a massive company in China. Now, when you do business in China, you're doing it with the CCP, right? Like, you can't escape that. But I do think there is somewhat of a distance between that and Tencent, right? It's not like you're going directly to Xi Jinping if you do business with Tencent, right? I don't know how much autonomy Tencent has relative to like other governments and other companies in the world. But yeah, if you're going to play ball in China, you do have to follow some of the China. You have to play by like China's rules in some ways, right? This is different because this is the government of Saudi Arabia, the Public Investment Fund.
Yeah.
Right? The chairman of the board, I believe the chairman of the board is the Crown Prince, right? So it's like the layers of distinction are fewer in this instance. So you are making a deal, as Totilo pointed out. This is a state-sponsored deal. You're getting money from a government to be a part of a PR campaign, which is trying to clean up Saudi Arabia's reputation. Right now, I will say this: look, this is not to say the United States is like a better government. Our government is deeply complicit in a genocide right now. We're shipping out weapons. We sent Navy SEALs into North Korea, and all they did was murder a bunch of civilians. So it's like, I'm not sitting here saying you have to deal with countries that have spotless human rights records. But I'm also not going to say you should. And I just don't want to back away from that. But this is annoying because I feel like, I don't know, Ubisoft with its properties, I feel like is in a position to do some cool stuff. But instead what they have done is continue to milk certain things, continue to build games that are either too big or, I don't know, don't take enough risks or are too, I don't know, it's weird. Like Assassin's Creed Shadows took the risk of having two protagonists, which is a pretty big deal. But the open world was as bog standard as it could get.
Yeah.
So it's like Ubisoft takes these huge risks in certain areas, and then in other areas does nothing. And that dichotomy is kind of enraging, because it's like there's two people at Ubisoft, and one of them thinks of these crazy ideas, and the other one just keeps doing the same boring stuff. And so that's just like the type of games that Ubisoft develops. That's besides the fact that multiple high-level employees at Ubisoft have been fired or let go. Some of them were just convicted in France. Yves Guillemot has weaseled his way out of any like responsibility in any of the Ubisoft's like cultural upheaval, which is really fucking annoying. The X-Defiant thing where they chase trends in a way that they really shouldn't have, tripped up, and then they get this cash infusion from Tencent. It feels like a bailout, right, of a company that didn't know what it was doing, was doing poorly, and then all of a sudden they get this huge cash infusion, and it's like, oh, okay, we get to do this now. And that's really annoying. So I don't know. And it feels like Ubisoft has incompetent ownership.
Yes.
And at the same time, games like Star Wars Outlaws, it's like, that's not Yves Guillemot's fault. I don't think that Star Wars Outlaws was just meh, right?
I'm going to blame him anyway.
You could, I guess. So it's like at the other end, it's like the company is just struggling to, like, I don't know, make good games, to put it bluntly, I guess. And that's not an easy thing to do, don't get me wrong. I thought Assassin's Creed Shadows was solid, but again, I have all those similar criticisms about it's like boring open world and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what else I have to say, but do you have anything you'd like to add here?
Just when you were saying that Ubisoft has the opportunity to do something really cool, I just wanted to interject and say, yeah, fire Yves Guillemot.
Yeah, you could, yeah, that could definitely be a thing that you could do.
Yeah.
And I think probably should have happened, just considering all the stuff that went down. I think one of the worries about this is, I don't know, because if a state-sponsored DLC, what do you get out of that, right? There could be a propaganda layer there. Now, again, this isn't me saying other countries
don't do that.
That the United States does not do that, right? The United States kowtows to
America's Army.
Yeah, there's a game called America's Army. The United States film industry kowtows to China all the time. like the NBA, right? When there was those democracy protests in Hong Kong.
It's all complicated.
And yeah, the NBA was like, Stephen Curry, who, and Steve Kerr, who every 5 seconds is, they're talking. The NBA is the most socially progressive sports league. But the minute those protests went down in China, it was, it's complicated. We don't have any opinions about it, which is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So don't get my words twisted. I will complain about it as it happens in the United States as well. But again, when Hollywood's connection to the military industrial complex is more complicated than literally getting money. Well, I guess in some ways it does just get
money from the government.
Yeah, from the government in some ways. So that is probably a problem. But it definitely is a problem.
It is.
But this is also this is just the same issue, and it's like, what do you get out of it? What is in this story? Is it going to be colored by this investment? Does Saudi Arabia have any kind of editorial control, any creative control in this? Did they really just say, we want something set here? And it's like, okay, yeah, you can write whatever you want. Or we want something set here, and this is the kind of the story we want, and this is how we want to portray our history, etc., etc., and that's a different conversation altogether. And yeah, I feel like if you're doing that people should know about it, and you shouldn't be coy. And that's the other thing that just fucking annoys me. It's just, I don't know. Ubisoft, all companies are evil, right? Yeah, like they're all bad. They fire people, like whatever. But Ubisoft is also just annoying. Just the way they mismanage
the cardinal sin of being annoying.
The way they mismanage things, the way Yves Chamolt weaseled his way out of things.
Oh no, I'm a victim too, guys.
Yeah, exactly. They betrayed my trust in the Zergasgo. And it's just like, yeah, anyway, sorry. So that's my Ubisoft rant. Do you have anything else you would like to say?
No. Baguette.
Okay. I think we'll end it there. Follow us, youtube.com/gaming discourse, patreon.com/the gaming discourse. Bye.